Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hucker's Hideout. Today, we're taking a look at Devblog 25, the latest update on the new pre alpha build for Anvil Empires. Anvil Empires' release date has yet to be announced, so stay tuned to their Steam page for updates. The link is below. Now, please sit back, relax, and enjoy as we look through the Devblog. So as you can see here, Dev Blog 25. This was released on October 9th, so it's a little bit in the past, but some of these changes I don't think made it to the last little build. And so I hope they appear in our next test that is coming up here pretty shortly. And so as you can see, it's mainly focused on inventory drag and drop, rendering improvements, and Unreal Engine 5.6. And as always, the disclaimer features discussed in this post reflect what is currently under development and may change in the future. And so as you can see, we have the new inventory drag and drop. Players can now organize their inventories by dragging items both within and between personal and structural inventories. This feature works hand in hand with the hotbar functionality, allowing users to sort their items and equipment more efficiently alongside the hotkeys. This is going to be a really great improvement. I'm very excited for this. I have a lot of struggles moving stuff around. I'll be honest. I always, fill up kind of my hotbars with things I don't need, and so this is going to be a great improvement. And additionally, dragging an item outside the inventory screen now drops it on the ground, just like using Alt left clicked. We'll continue working on improving inventory functionality in the future. That's a really good improvement as well. It is kind of annoying sometimes to have to alt left click things. It's not the end of the world, but with just dragging and dropping, it's definitely quicker. It'll feel a lot smoother. All right, on to the next one. So you see here we are on to visibility culling improvements. Tall structures such as walls and foundations now use visibility culling, allowing players to see themselves while moving through keep and town areas. We hope this enhances the user experience when fighting in tight spaces surrounded by dense structures. Similar improvements have also been applied to cave assets, improving visibility while exploring the underworld. And this is really great for, I don't know, for me especially because I can get better footage. But I'm really glad for everyone because it's kind of annoying to have to rotate your camera to, the enemy's perspective basically to try to fight them sometimes. It's definitely an interesting, fighting mechanic. But now that they've changed this, this is a great improvement. I'm very excited to see how it plays out, and especially in the cave assets, because you know me, I love mining in that underworld. So you'll see me utilizing that very soon. And then on to the next thing. So some visual improvements. Torch clipping. In some cases, the light emitted from torches could clip into ceilings or walls, causing the light source to vanish and plunging the player into darkness. We've added a system that dynamically adjusts the torch's light position when it comes into contact with surfaces, allowing players to use torches more reliably inside structures and caves. This is really helpful. As I said before, I get I get a lot of cave time in, and so being able to see definitely helps out. It's kind of freaky when the lights go out in caves, and so this is definitely a fun improvement. I'm excited to see how it goes in the caves. Something I haven't really played around with much is canal render, or the canals. So we'll see what this is. Canal rendering. We've also addressed some problematic interactions between canals and terrain that cause them to sink into or float above the ground unnaturally. To resolve this, we're now using vertical wall extensions to cover gaps in the landscape inside of dirt piles. No, instead of dirt piles. But in theory, this approach can handle gaps of any height simply by adding a taller mesh. That's a great improvement. So, instead of having little struts, I guess they're just going straight with these, little landscapes instead of dirt piles. Okay, that's very cool. Sloping sides were added to the extension pieces to make transitions between extension heights look nicer. In this picture above, you can see the debug traces indicating which type of extensions to spawn. Oh, okay. So you can see this is kind of the lower down. This is a medium one, and then this is higher. And I think these are the slope transitions that kind of make it look a little better. I also think the walls have a little slope. That definitely looks clean. I like the look of that. I didn't play around much with canals before, but the new looks are always good. And you can see here, kind of the final thing they wanted to talk about was Unreal Engine 5.6 upgrade. Anvil Empires now runs on Unreal Engine 5.6. bringing several useful features for future development. We'll be taking advantage of the new character animations tool as we redesign how our characters function on both technical and visual levels. Ooh, that's exciting! Some new little interactions visually. That's always great. This is also part of our ongoing efforts to improve rendering performance when many players are on screen. Oh, I love that for the mega fights. The upgrade also resolves multiple GPU crashes that players experience under Unreal 5.1. All right, that's a great improvement. I'm very excited for this Unreal Engine 5.6. It should be a very helpful thing, not just for the players, but also for the developers, so they can kind of see what it's like with more players on screen and more battles commencing, and they get to play around. It looks like with some more functionalities, with their players. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this look at the good old dev blog. I hope they come out with a new one soon, but this is our most recent one. If you'd like to check it out for yourself, there's also a link for that down in the description below. And since the test is coming out pretty shortly, it is October 17th, the pre alpha test notes have also come out. So you can see here we have the test notes for MS 61.4. And you can see for game balance, fire pits have now decay after 6 hours. All right. Battery rams, heavy battery rams, and siege tower health increased. Very good. We needed that. Burning damage against vehicles reduced. Okay, interesting. Catapult splash damage radius increased by 25%. All right. Catapult accuracy spread reduced by 35%. More accurate now. Towers can no longer be built at homesteads, but can now be built at camps and fortresses instead. Okay, so it seems like they buffed a lot of the siege equipment, which is great to see. I want to see how that plays out. And it looks like maybe they got rid of tier 2 and tier 3 walls have been removed. Yeah, they got rid of tier 2 and tier 3 walls. Very interesting. Camp area size reduced by 20%. Homestead area size reduced by 10%. Fortress area size reduced by 20%. The minimum enforced distance between homesteads and fortresses area reduced by 25%. Okay, so now you can build closer. Homesteads no longer collapse and are immediately destroyed when their health reaches zero. Okay, that's a very good change. Now you can't just run in and repair a homestead right away. It actually will disappear. Maybe that'll help people camping the relic sites. We shall see. Also, hemp spawn rate reduced. Okay, very good. That kind of reduces siege equipment. I'm pretty sure, like siege towers, catapults, that kind of stuff. Town gates are slightly easier to breach. Ooh, that might be interesting to see. I don't know if the town gates needed less health. They just needed to have the rams last longer. So hammers no longer deal damage. Okay, that's an interesting one. I wonder why they changed that. All right, other changes. Homestead walls and gates can be built over roads again. Okay, that's cool. Now you can actually block an area off. There is now a limit for how many corridor and walkway structures can be built in a small area. Okay, that might reduce all the spamming and stuff, where people build crazy weird towers. Corridor and walkway structures can no longer be built in water. Flower pots and low dividers have been removed from the game. I was just thinking corridor and walkway structures removed from built-in water. I think that's because people were blocking waterways with them. If I've been looking around and I think people were doing that, which is very interesting. You got to try all the mechanics so that they see how they'll be used. Small camps have been removed from the game. Oh, that's interesting. Those are kind of the raid camps when people are starting to siege. They'll build a small camp up. The distance from enemies that is required to claim relic sites has been reduced. Okay, that's definitely going to help reduce the camping the relic site. The minimum distance at which homesteads can be built from relic sites has been increased. Very good changes. All right, let's get into the bug fixes here now. Shadows from a structure remain for up to a minute after the structure is destroyed. Huh. That's interesting. That definitely is a bug that needed fixing. Raven dens were not spawning. That was definitely an interesting thing. I think that was the deadwood spawns were not spawning very well, so that's a good fix. We'll see. Wheat and cabbage and other resources were not spawning at the intended frequency. They were definitely over spawning. They were filling up whole fields and stuff. So that's a good bug fix. Wolves, bears, and boars were spawning less frequently than expected. Huh. I didn't really run into that. I ran into actually a fair amount of bears, which was kind of rough. Anyways, dev notes and known issues. Homesteads have been intentionally reduced in their defensibility to discourage their use as forward bases or strongholds. Makes sense. You should probably build a fortress or something like that that would use that. It is known gameplay issue that the frontline towns are too close to each other. This will be addressed in future updates. No additional feedback on this is required. Well, thank you for letting us know. Yeah, so the two towns are very, very close. They're almost touching. So the shield wall fighting doesn't get far before you run into a siege. All right, and this time's test objectives are pretty simple. Continue balance and combat stuff. Looks like they're just focusing on combat stuff and finding bugs, not really focused on evaluating the town or economy systems, which is not an issue at all. I love that stuff, but there will be more tests. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed that look at the test notes as well as the dev blog. I'm excited for this upcoming test. It's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully, it lasts a long time. But if you enjoyed, hit the like, comment, subscribe. Let me know how I did. We'll see you all next time on the next great video. Have a good day.